Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock Off the Perch, a Manchester United podcast. This week's episode, we talk about our last two games, topsy-turvy. Topsy-turvy is the term which comes to my mind when I think of United's form. One day we are brilliant, another day not so much. This week is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Two home games, one Premier League, one FA Cup. We lose against Crystal Palace 2-0, very tepid performance, and win against Leicester City against the legend Ruud van Nistelrooy's team 2-1. Hi Aruj, how have you been? What did you make of these two games?
Doing well. And remember last week when we were talking about the fact that we've won three games in a row, and with the games against Crystal Palace and Leicester up next, probably there is a chance to build onto that momentum and hopefully convert this into something of a season-changing moment. But yeah, the moment we come against Crystal Palace, who have a relatively good away record in the recent games, we
Hmm.
somehow fell flat. We started well, I thought. We, you know, Amorim tried to shake it up, and I think he mentioned the fact that this was a clash of similar styles, where Crystal Palace also playing a similar formation, and we were also playing a similar the formation
Hmm.
of 3-4-2-1. So he decided to
Hmm.
shake it up, play Menu up front, and benching Hoyland and Zirkzee both to play that false nine, and hopefully it creates more chances. And it seemed like that in the at least in the first 10 minutes. That it could happen with Ahmad, Menu, Garnacho being very active up front, switching positions.
Hmm.
And we created a couple of chances early, but I think that experiment lasted for 10-15 minutes. After that, Crystal Palace tweaked their game. They started sitting a little deep and compacting the spaces so that the switchovers don't impact them so much. And after that, it was really tepid. We couldn't do much in the first half itself, and Crystal Palace went on to take their chances, which hurt us, which hurt United. First half, it was 0-0. We thought, okay, there's a chance United will come back stronger in the second half, but it was Crystal Palace actually who came back stronger.
Your analogy of Amorim's team being very similar to Van Gaal teams, it's like has rung true, like it has stood the test of time because we had 67% of ball possessions. We had 563 passes as compared to 280 of Crystal Palace. We
Yeah,
had 17 shots as compared to 11 shots of Crystal Palace. But most of these shots were ineffective.
yeah, low XG
About
shots.
11
Yeah,
of, yeah, low XG shots. I think even the ones the starting lineup was baffling to everyone because what are you basically telling your two uh, strikers, even though they are not in form? I think it was to shake their confidence up, but Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund would be kicking themselves up, thinking that we are the only two strikers in the club, and we are not. Meno is getting picked up, in
ahead of
front
him.
of us.
Yeah,
It's not a good look for our strikers. And yeah, I mean, for the first 10 minutes it worked, but then it didn't. Crystal Palace did take their chances, and we have seen this time and time again. Any decently coached team comes to United, and I think Amorim has to take a bit of the blame because he has talked about a lot of times our form at home, about how our players are anxious and afraid. Playing for United should come with its pressure, but more often than not, we have seen the characters. They rise up that challenge and show us performance.
yeah,
But the current squad, they peckle under the pressure. Maguire came ahead with in the last game and said our performance at Old Trafford has been very poor, and it's the fact that we concede a goal first and
yeah,
then all hell break loose, and we our team starts making mistakes. They lose concentration, they lose focus, and more often than not, again, once we concede the first goal, we do end up losing the game.
yeah,
Although there is some evidence that under Amorim, we are returning to some form in the last few minutes because a lot of winners have come after 80th minute and 90th minute in under Amorim's era, and so was
I'll
the case
talk
in
about
the.
that when we discuss the Leicester game as well. I'm not
Hmm,
too sure
hmm,
that is part of the tactical thinking, or it's just that that crunch situation we need to do something. Is it that? And we'll take the example of Bruno free kick to Maguire when we talk
hmm,
about that. But just one last thing on the Crystal Palace game, and I think this
hmm,
will be a big challenge for us going forward is the injury to Lisandro Martinez. Licha has been coming back into form. He was doing really well over the last few games, especially in that overlapping centre back kind of a role, where he was contributing with assists, goals. He was getting the team entire, push forward in terms of, how we play out from the back. And his injury, I think, is going to be a big knock for two reasons. One, he's a bit of a leader on the pitch. He was getting back into form. And secondly, the other option that we had, who was seemingly coming back to the squad, Luke Shaw, had a bit of a
hmm,
challenge again. Somebody who can, as a left-footed player, play at that left centre back position. So that is going to be a challenge. We have signed Aiden Haven now. So
hmm.
he also is a left-footed player who can play there, but I think too young to be depended on, although he's part of the first team. But what do you make of that, and how do United deal with it?
I think we still have decent numbers in our defense. Uh, According to Amarim, Luke Shaw's injury is not a very long-lasting one.
Yeah.
He should be coming back to training back
How
again
many
soon.
times have we heard that?
I mean, yeah, it's a sad one. Apparently, it's a different injury than
Yeah.
his previous one, and according to Amorim, it's a light one. And Aiden Heaven is also brought in because for his first team for the first team as well. So I think this is a good time as any for him to prove his mettle to United.
Yeah. I thought
He
in
was
the
very
less.
close.
Yeah. Go on, go on.
Yeah. He was very close to making a debut for Arsenal as well, and really good performances for
He
the
has played
Arsenal
one EFL
reserves.
game. I think in the Premier
He
League he
has.
hasn't. He came on for
Yeah,
20 minutes or
correct.
so in the EFL Cup game. And I thought in the FA Cup, if we were half decent, we would be probably leading 2-3 nil. And I had hoped that Heaven gets his debut as a substitute in that game. But United being
Yeah,
United conceded early and were chasing that game as well.
yeah. But no, I think as sad as Licha's injury is, I think we'll miss more of his impact off the pitch, more
Yeah.
because he is a character. He brings some fire to the United people. It was very nice to see after our FA Cup victory against Leicester, Ugarte sharing a call with Licha. He was congratulating the whole squad.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, a big player like Licha will be missed, but we are not very sure if he's out for the season. There were reports that he has ruptured his ACL and
Yeah.
will be out for the season, but both United statement as well as Amorim mentioned he'll be out for a considerable amount of time. It wasn't defined what this considerable
But
amount of
I
time is.
think there is no doubt that it is ACL, right? I think that was confirmed. And
That is confirmed.
if we just go on evidence of what has happened in the past, it takes at least 6-7 months for players to come
Yeah.
back to training, which would mean that probably he would be back in time for the preseason, if at all, or otherwise early next season. But hopefully he can make a speedy recovery.
Yeah. So for the best for Licha as well as hope he recovers well and comes back in the same form that he was
Yeah.
in, right? All right, let's talk about the FA Cup fixture against Rood Van Nistelrooy. We this had a very good build up to it. Amarim showing some class and telling that he talked Rood one on one, and Rood understood why he couldn't continue as a coaching role. This is something also we have talked about a
Yeah.
lot of times. Rood had a good rapport with all our players, and Root also in his pre-match conference did say that I know these players in and out,
Thankfully, I don't
and
have to study the United squad. That is
yeah,
Amorim's
so
job now, or
yeah,
something he said.
yeah. So this is a nice, and he did get a good reception at Old Trafford as was expected. Uh, Performance-wise, not a great game, but we did get the result. We are through to the next round. The opponents of the next round are yet to be ascertained. We should know these. by the end of Monday when the other fixtures take place.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it
What
again
did you
a
make of
weird
the
game.
starting 11? Dorgu had a first start, but on right wing.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about the versatility of Dorgu, and I thought it was about the balance which the manager sees. If he sees Dorgu, if he sees Dalo more, having more effect on the left hand side, something
Which
we
I
as
don't
fans
think is
are
true.
not
Which
able
I
to
don't
see.
think is true. Yeah.
Yeah, that we are not able to see, but yeah, I don't know what he saw, but yeah,
You know what?
Dorgu started from the
My
right.
theory is that he
Hmm,
likes to play a left-footed player on the right wing, which is why
hmm,
he, even in Sporting, he puts Cuenda in the 17, 18-year-old. I really hope we sign him in the summer. So it can be Cuenda and Dorgu on the two wings that we
hmm.
have. But I think he wants a left-footed player in the short term. I still believe that Ahmad playing on the wingback role works well because I think he does okay as a defensive player and is very attacking. So it could probably Ahmad and Dorgu as the solution for remaining of this season. Play Manu and Garnacho as tens and up front one of Zirkzee and Hoyland. But yeah, the starting 11 was a little weird for me. Even the fact that he decided to play Mazarawi as left center back and Euro as right center back, it was a little weird for me. Maybe to provide that protection to Dallo on the left, have Mazarawi there. But yeah, it was a very, very flat start, and Leicester were much better than United in the first half.
Some alternate lineups that I've been thinking upon is, yes, I completely agree that Diallo should be starting at wing back, and there is evidence for him as well. When Diallo has started at the right wing back position for us, we have won four, drawn one, and lost one. When he
Yeah,
has started as a number 10 role, we have won four, uh, drawn two, and lost six of these games.
yeah.
So there is a clear evidence that Amad Diallo starting on the right wing back, there is much more of a probability of us winning. And I also feel since we have lost Licha for a considerable amount of time, I believe Dalo could be tried at one of the centre back positions.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
yeah, in game he has played, I think, at a couple of
Yeah.
times when has had to make changes. So yeah, I think between Mazarawi, Delict, Maguire, and Euro, and maybe even Dallo, we should fill those three positions. And Dorgu and Ahmad can be our wing backs. So let's see if I think it's also about the balance in terms of defense. I think both Ahmad and Dorgu will end up being very attacking. So he needs that balance to save. At least one of them needs to be defensive in nature, which probably will be Dallo in the Dorgu and Dallo wing back combination. So hopefully that, but yeah, I think he quickly realized, and probably I think this was premeditated that Dorgu will only get 45 minutes with the
Hmm.
intensity of playing against a Premier League team and all. And then came in Garnacho, which was a pleasing change. He pretty much changed the game, had a great impact, uh, got man of the match as well. And I think in the lead up to the first goal, initially Ahmad on the right was involved. Then it was the ball fed into Garnacho on the left, who played it
Yeah.
in. Hoyland tried that flick, which was good to see, by the way. Hoyland in the right place at the right time. It didn't go in, but then Zirkzee was
Hmm.
also in the box, and it was a tap in for him, which is always good to see the front two or our
Yeah.
strikers getting involved in a goal. Striker finally having a goal after a few games. So, and I think after that it felt it as a matter of time, right? Even Maguire
Yeah.
spoke about it, although the goal that came in was a little bit of a lucky one, but it felt we will get that goal.
Yeah, I've always maintained that I'd love to see both Hoyland and Xerxes on the pitch together. And it was good to see both of them at the right places
Yeah,
because Hoyland reached to the shot and Xerxes was there to tap it in. So both were at the right places. But of course, most of the plaudits have to go to Garnacho for his
yeah,
blasting runs. He'll take one on one. He's very fearless that way.
yeah,
And he did mention that Amorim had a talk with him during the halftime, told him that you're going to come on and you have to show me your natural game. And yeah, natural game really show.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, it was a brilliant cutback, brilliant worked out goal. Of
yeah.
course, I think Leicester would feel a bit hard done by because of the fact there was no VAR. If there was VAR, the goal would
Goal would
have
have
been
been
chalked
disallowed.
out,
Yeah.
and we would have had to see 30 more tepid football, 30 more minutes of bad football. But yeah, I mean, brilliant ball by Bruno,
Bruno.
first of all. Yes, Harry Maguire didn't hold his run, but
But the
eventually
finish
ended
was
up at
decent. I
the
think you expect a
yeah.
central defender to finish some of those, and he did that. But this is what I was talking about earlier, that some of the goals that we get towards the end of this are less of tactical Amorim goals and more of, okay, we need to, throw the kitchen sink at it and go for
Yeah.
a win now. And it was the brilliance of Bruno with that ball and the fact that Harry Maguire is good in the air, being able
Yeah.
to get first to that and finish, which is my challenge right now. I think it will take time for this squad to get used to the Amorim system, the tactics, etc. And the fact that it is drastically different from what we have played before, and Amorim is a little bit of a stickler for his system. It is taking
Hmm.
time, and I think he is not afraid of shaking it up. He's not afraid of pulling people down who are not abiding by his system, so to say. So I think over months and probably a couple of years, we will see a lot of these players being phased out and some of the new ones coming in who play as per him and his system. But yeah, as long as the club is backing him, he's continuing to provide us some results. I think that is probably the way to go for this squad.
Yeah. And then we look forward to the next game against Tottenham. Of course, there's a good long break before that happens. So yeah, a lot of training days for the folks, and yeah, it was good to see that Amorim actually made a lot of the players who were part of the squad of the Leicester game train after the game at
Yeah,
Old Trafford. This wasn't planned, by the
it
way.
was a
They
proper
got
training
because of
session.
the
Yeah,
it was a proper training session and was held because Amorim just wasn't happy with the standard. So that is very good to see.
yeah.
I hope it does spark some fire in the bellies of our players as the manager cannot be answerable to the platform always. Yes, he is the one setting up the team. Yes, he is the one putting these players on the field. We can talk about lineups, we can talk about the technical stuff, but that being said, 11 players who are playing for United need to show us that they mean to play for Manchester United. We saw in the winter transfer window as well a lot of outgoings. Uh, Amarim was very clear. He didn't want Rashford in the squad. He didn't want Anthony in the squad. He didn't want Malaysia in the squad. Yes, we didn't get good replacements for these players, but
Yeah.
at least these are players who weren't part of his plan, who didn't do the things which he wanted, and they are out of the club now.
Yeah. On that
Maybe
note,
not for good.
Anthony killing it at Real Betis, man of the match performance in the first one, a goal in the second one. I think he's finding his levels. Good for us.
Yep.
I think he either increases his value and gets sold off, or at least can become a squad player for United in the next season. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, looking forward to the game against Spurs next. Hopefully, we can win that one and increase the distance between them and us in the league, put them in a bit of a relegation battle, perhaps. But we will look forward to that. Thanks for joining in for this part. See you in the next one.